Welcome to episode 72 of the Any Spartan Show. Sandy, Josh, and myself started this show with no real agenda. It kind of shows, but we had a blast. Some audio issues, some network or audio gremlins along the way made the sound quality a bit tough sometimes. Still, enjoy the show. Welcome to episode I have no idea. Josh?
I also have no idea because it's been a solid month since I think we were together.
We've been quiet.
74-ish.
Somewhere
72.
around that. We will look it up, and by the time this is published, it will be in the show notes like it was flawless.
72.
So clearly we're in the quiet season for OCR in New England. I think we had the winter races have happened, and the spring races haven't quite happened. So it's been, I got out to Polar Bear, but that's been the only race I got out to. Josh, you got out to Greek Peak, right?
I did. Did we talk about Greek Peak last time, or has it been that long?
We have not.
No, we did not. All right. Yeah. Hey, see, we said we didn't have anything to talk about in the episode, and magically things present themselves.
They do.
Notice how we're admitting we had nothing to talk about after we're already recording?
Totally.
I mean,
that's because we're transparent and we're open.
Oh my goodness.
I live my life by the ad-lib way of doing things.
So if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to the most polished professional podcast in obstacle course racing. This is the Josh, Sandy, and Paul show, where we shoot the shit and see where we end up.
We just start throwing things at the wall and see what sticks.
We do. So why don't we talk about what we have done this past winter? I mean, obviously, we talked about Polar Bear Challenge on another race, but outside of Polar Bear Challenge, I have actually done something I've never done before, and that's actually purposefully started training. And I genuinely mean that. I've never actually done that before. So those of you who remember Heather Gano, now Heather Hart, she and her husband Jeff started a remote training business. Now they've moved down to Myrtle Beach. So when they said they were taking clients, I bugged them, and they got on their bucks, and they've been giving me training programs, which I've dutifully been far too busy to do every single week for the most part, but it's a lot more mileage than I've done in a long time. So I did 4 miles today, 5 miles yesterday, 3 miles tomorrow. So I'm actually running, ready for Ragnar, I hope.
I'm beyond jealous.
So Sandy,
well, you got another month and 10 days to get honed in.
Well, I'll take stumbling forward without dying more than homed in, but yeah, no, it's nice to have someone to actually tell me what to do and when to do it and why we're doing it, because I have not done that before.
Well,
Sandy,
it's good to have a plan.
What's going on with your back?
My what? You are cutting out badly.
Oh dear,
Your back.
Your back.
Yes, dear. My back. I'm actually doing remarkably well given the circumstances. Not back to running or anything yet, but PT is going well. I'm dutifully following all the instructions, and he keeps adding more and more stuff, and things seem to be going well. So, the big accomplishment this week is I can lay in bed and sleep on my back.
It's the small
Which
victories.
Sounds so silly, but it is a victory that I haven't done in 2 months.
Yeah.
So, and that's new as of 2 days ago. So,
very cool.
So, hey, I take victories where I can claim them.
Do you think you have a timeline or a target that you'll be back for?
It's going to be slow going for a while.
Yeah.
I was planning on signing up for Runzilla, which we will circle back to shortly. And even if I had to walk it, so right now I'm talking to Kim over at Wasson Pond, which is May the 5th. Mm-hmm. And, the goal is to be able to do 1 lap, but if not, I'll be volunteering. But I'll probably be volunteering even if I do run 1 lap. So cool. I'm going to work with her and figure out what to do with that. So after beginning of May, we'll see how things go from there.
Okay. Well, I'll be at Wasson Pond with the little one. Although it won't be a slow lap because he's already told me he's planning on beating me.
Ah, has he been running like you have?
No. No, he's been doing CrossFit Kids and enjoying it. But he's already told me he's going to win. He's already told me he's going to win this year. So there you go.
All right.
And Josh,
so the question is he going to win honestly, or are you going to let him win?
Even if he wins honestly,
which kind of parent are you?
I'm going to tell everyone that I let him win because I'm such a good dad. And he doesn't listen to podcasts, and he'll be none the wiser for a good decade at least.
Right now he hears you on this podcast from his bedroom, and he's just banging out some push-ups. He's like, I'll get you.
We'll see. Josh, what have you been up to? We just talked about Greek Peak, so do you want to tell us what Spartan's winter OCRs are like?
Yeah, winter's been busy for me. I raced in December down in Florida, but that's not technically winter racing. It's Florida racing. But on the training side of things, I've been doing as much as I possibly. Molly and I are waking up at 4:30 in the morning, sometimes going to the gym, sometimes rolling back over and saying, nope, not today. So we're doing that. I go to Train 180 typically twice a week. Sometimes I get time to train in. Sometimes we just get a run in. We've been doing a ton of rock climbing this off season, which I think is helping a ton.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah, so Greek Peak, surprisingly fun. Not surprisingly fun. I mean, I've heard it was fun since last year, but as you know me, I don't generally run in the wintertime. But so we went out there. It's like a 6-hour drive because it's pretty far western New York. Yeah. So we drove out Friday night. It was an absolute squally blizzard on the way out there. So we were driving at like 40 miles an hour. But it actually was really well done. So it's a ski resort and it's the wintertime. So there are skiers there. So they cut off a section of the mountain. And I swear to God, nothing against Spartan, but can we please stop out of the starting gate just running straight up hills? Because it had snowed overnight, so there's probably 6 inches of snow on the ground, and it was like fluffy snow. It wasn't terrible, but running in fluffy snow with high knees obviously is like it just melts your heart rate. So we went straight up the hill, and it was pretty rugged weather-wise. It was pretty chilly. It was probably 20 degrees at the start of the race, 25 degrees maybe. But it's a totally different dynamic. So obviously you got more layers on. So we're in the registration area. We check in. Everybody's like layered up. People are comparing like, what are you wearing under this? And I got 3 layers of that on. Shameless plug for maybe a future potential sponsor. I wear Second Skin gear now. This Second Skin compression, like the cold compression, I wore, and then my team jersey, and I was warm the whole day. I didn't even change. We ended up doing 2 laps of the race, but the course itself was actually great. So the barbed wire crawl with the snow was amazing. No mud. Yep. You're just in the snow. You're rolling, right? It's not you're not scratching your knees up or murdering your knees or anything. It was really an identical sprint to what we're going to see in like Rutland later this year. So they had all the usual obstacles. They had the bucket carry, which is now a capped bucket. So there's no more filling your bucket, it seems. It's all pre-filled buckets and they're ready to go. You just pick them up and go.
Is that better or worse?
When you look at it from the aspect of the post-race Facebook like wine fest that tends to happen everywhere.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Let's just say it's better in that case. And actually, pro tip, the bucket, it's got nice soft handles from the cap of the bucket. So maybe I shouldn't have shared that. That could be my competitive advantage. But they had the sandbag carry, all the usual walls, all the good stuff. They had Olympus. Olympus in the freezing cold snow and wind was quite an adventure. The Atlas carry, and the best part about the Atlas carry is the women's Atlas carry. Apparently the girls just started rolling it towards the end of the day. So on our second lap, we got there, and the Atlas stones looked like they were like 5 times the size because they were just snowmanning the Atlas stone. It was humongous. So that was an adventure, picking that up at the end of the day. So we had, it was about a 4.5-mile course. My run in the morning was my first attempt at running in the new age group category at Spartan. So last year, in the competitive waves when I raced, I had a couple top 10 finishes, 7, 8, 9, like right in that range. And so this year, I think logically, I just said, let's give the age group a try. And we talked about this a few episodes ago. I will tell you, the age group category is a massive hit with Spartan.
Really?
People are just going to the age group category in droves. So I went back and I looked at the results. They had 99 elite competitors, combined male and female. They had 422 age group competitors.
Wow.
So it seems like everybody wants a chance at a podium. So they want to.
What were those numbers again?
So it was 99 in the elite, and it was 422, I believe, in the competitive. And then it was just under like 3,000 total, I think. So yeah, it was.
All right, so that's a sixth of the full.
Yeah.
Were either elite or competitive.
And so you think about the age groups are these 10-year brackets for most, 5 years for some of the younger ones. So there's a lot of discussion around whether the 30 to 39. I'm 30 to 39, so I'll talk about my age group. Whether like these 30 to 39 age groups should be broken up into 30 to 34 and 35 to 39, which I'm a huge proponent of. But at the same time, Spartan's doing podium ceremonies for every single age group, so it's logistically it would just be a nightmare to have like 20 different age groups. But I'll tell you, you look at the success of the World Championship races and how the age group has been so important to people to be able to race against competitors that they know they should be competing against. Like, I'm a 22-year-old kid, right? Let's be honest. But if I race somebody who's 38 years old and has the same passion I have and the same determination I have, I match up far better with that person than I do, just a huge elite wave of random runners in age groups. So seems like they've got a pretty good following of people that want to compete in this. And I'll tell you that the age group categories are selling out faster than elite. So
I believe it.
But overall, the event actually was a really good time. It was well done. The festival areas at Spartan have definitely gotten a lot more robust this year. So they bring in these big, like, Spartan. It's essentially a social media push, like these big Spartan signs with a big hashtag. And at each event, they're like painted differently, or they're organized. Not organized, but they're like designed differently to match the event and the venue. They brought in like this one, so they had like big ice carved statues and logos there. It was a pretty fun event. I would definitely go back next year. And like I said, we did 2 laps, so it was great to get out there. And I ran into a handful of other Spartans that were racing. I saw some NES dry robes that were out there. My dry robe was absolutely clutch, pre and post race. But yeah, I'll definitely be back for it. It was a great time. So
awesome.
Very, very cool. So has this gotten you over your fear of winter racing?
Well, it wasn't necessarily a fear. It was just not a desire.
No, it was just a wimp.
Cold. So
maybe Josh isn't quite as wussy as he used to be.
Yeah, and now that I've got gear that I know works in the cold, and I've got going back to innovate for shoes this year, and the shoes that I have are pretty top notch running in the snow. But I'll tell you, story about the competitive. At the end of the day, I was trading places with this one guy, and to preface this, usually when you finish a Spartan race, the last thing you do is jump over the fire and you want your picture, and you're like, hey, you pose for your photo. So I was trading places with this one guy. I don't even know if he's in my age group, because a bunch of age groups start together, so you can't tell if it's not like we wear like banners that say 30 to 39 or 20 to 29. So I was racing with this one guy, and he looked like he was probably in his 30s. And we were trading places the whole course, and I passed him on the bucket carry, and he passed me on a downhill run. And when we were getting to the final 100 meters, it was the slick wall, which is just an angled wall with the ropes. and I ran up it, and I, like, for some reason I floundered at the top. I got, like, stuck, like my weight was leaning back, but my legs were over it, and I couldn't pull myself over, so he passed me. And then they actually have a dunk wall, but the dunk wall obviously is just a big snow gap, right? It's just you slide under it. Thinking, all right, I don't want to wait for like a fancy fire jump. I want to beat the guy ahead of me. So I actually went like speeding and slid under the dunk wall and just blasted right by him at the fire jump. And something came out in me, that being in these age group competitions, that I did not want to lose to that guy. And I went running so fast, I ran past the girls with the medal, past the banana guy, and slammed into the back gate in the finish area. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe my competitive spirit is coming out this year. We'll see. I'm super happy to be running age group. I like the format of it.
What do they say? If you can sprint at the finish, you weren't trying hard enough during the race?
Yeah, if you have that much gas at the end, you did not use it at the right time. And that definitely was the case. So, but I'll tell you, super humbling at the same time. So like I said earlier, last year when I did age group comparisons, I had single digits, 44th out of like 129 or something. So, I mean, the competition is definitely there this year, and there's a lot of people, obviously, that are in these age groups. And, you know, you get somebody who's like an enthusiast of Spartan and they compete elite, they don't have a chance.
Yep.
Right? So I think this gives those racers a chance to actually compete and be recognized, and, you know, if you get on a podium, see yourself on social media and things like that. So I think it's going to be a good year for them.
Good.
Good.
I hope it works out for them, because the OCR market's changing. Every year is different to the last one, and we're seeing a lot. I don't know if it's a lot fewer of the new entry-level people coming in. I think everyone who is going to run one for fun has probably done it by now. They're either hooked and doing a lot more or not. So I think the only way now is to get everybody competing, get everybody who wants to be competitive, and this is pretty much one of the few ways to do it, outside of Worlds or, you know, something like that.
Yeah, and they sold out of their elite season passes, they sold out of their open season passes, and they hold back the numbers on that. They're not releasing a ton of them, but there is obviously a pretty clear demand for races, and it's, you know, I don't know if anybody else feels the same, but it seems like this off season has just been ridiculously long. So
yes.
We'll be psyched to get back out racing and running different events, and it's a busy calendar year this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot going on this year. So why don't we talk about what's coming up? Because we have
I want to put in one more segue real quick based on something that Josh said at the beginning of his talking about cold gear. You said what is it called? Second Skin?
Second Skin is my current brand choice. I'm like head to toe. Remember the scene in Wayne's World where Garth like leans back and is wearing all Pepsi, and he's like, you know, it's really sad. People only do things for money. He's like got Pepsi gear and everything. That's like me right now.
All right. No, I don't remember that scene in Wayne's World, but that's okay. No, I wanted to give a different shout out because I've been using a product that I don't know if everyone's heard about called the Neptune system. And it's this amazing short sleeve compression shirt. But what makes it different is that there are 6 sewn in pockets all the way around your core, front and back. So 3 pockets in the front, 3 pockets in the back. And they come with waterproof pouches that fit inside those. And the, 3 inches by 4 inches or 2 inches by 3 inches, the body warmer packs fit exactly into those pouches. You curl them over. They're waterproof. Tuck them in, your entire core warm, while the rest of you, you know, and obviously that increases your circulation. For people like me with Raynaud's, who your core gets cold and all your fingertips and your toes go white and numb because your blood flow is being redirected, this helps to keep everything much more evenly balanced. And anyway, it's called the Neptune system, and I really enjoy it. So I wanted to give a shout out about that product. No, they're not paying me. No, I didn't get one for free. No, I heard about it from World's Toughest Mudder community and decided to try it out, and you know, it works great.
I think you've mentioned this before. Didn't you use it at Shale Hill?
Yes, I did.
Very cool.
I may have mentioned it before, so if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But
No,
it is a good enough product that if you heard it once, I don't mind if you hear it again.
It's adult learning. You have to say something 3 times to remember it anyway.
All right, so Neptune. There's the third, at least for tonight. So hopefully the weather will stay cool enough that I can mention it a third time at some point soon. Anyway, so now go ahead.
So right before we hit record, we got an email and we saw some social media chatter that Runzilla has had to move their date. Fred sent an email out. He's had to move it from April 16th or so to April 12th to August 25th.
25th.
So the venue is the same, everything's the same, but he has had to change date. And that's a symptom of the weather, the fact that the venue didn't want to get their grounds ripped up with the soft ground right now and any kind of build or dig or anything like that he needed to do. It's similar to what's happened to Pursue events. They have a venue, they have a plan, but it's very weather dependent. And unfortunately, when a large venue like that says you can't come in, you're not going in. Doesn't really matter how many people you have waiting or paid or expecting it. So.
And I will say that August 25th doesn't bump up against anything other than West Point Spartan, which is not really New England, and Pennsylvania, Warrior Dash, I believe. So up here in our race local program, etc., it's not bumping up against. So at least he was able to get a date that isn't going to hurt him.
And then, as always, whenever Fred's had to do something like this, he is allowing you to transfer to any one of his other races, transfer to other runners with no charges. So he's trying to be as accommodating as possible. And no matter as how upset you are about it, I can guarantee he's more upset about having to move.
Yeah, he actually he just posted and said we could have kept the date, but would have had to move the venue and felt the venue was a very important part of the event. We don't enjoy it. It's a tough decision. We're excited for this year as we have exceeded registration and vendor numbers, but under the circumstances, we had to move. Hope to see everybody on the 25th of August.
Well, I hope everyone understands and is accommodating, and we shall likely be there in August.
Quite honestly, if you live in New England, you have to expect that this is going to happen from time to time, and there's not a darn thing you can do about it. It's kind of like rallying against, they canceled school, or, they canceled this class or that. People, they're not given a choice.
Yeah, it's circumstance, and there's not a lot they can do towards it.
And you can complain and fuss and fight, but it's still one of the facts of living in New England. So.
Yep. What else we got going on? Oh, Josh, you went to a Spartan workout tour.
Yeah, this past weekend, Spartan did a workout tour at Lifetime Fitness in Westwood, Mass. And they have a schedule for this up throughout the year. They've got the whole year planned if you want to stop in and join any of these workout tours. And first and foremost, it's $10. You get a pretty sweet, Spartan Strong workout tee. They give you discounts on races if you sign up on the spot. They were doing 40% off of Greater New England and other area races, so pretty good discounts. But so if you haven't been to one of these, it's a group workout. It was a 2-hour workout. It was pretty bloody intense. So they bring in an SGX coach who was at Lifetime Fitness. They essentially rented out the whole gymnasium area. So think of a big double basketball court size gymnasium, and they probably had I'd say 150 people there. It was a pretty good turnout. So they took them through a 2-hour workout. They did cardio, they did obviously burpees, they did a bunch of functional fitness type stuff, but it was a great event. And the gym they did it at, Lifetime Fitness, if you have never been to one of these gyms, remember in Dodgeball, that Globo gym?
Yeah,
that's pretty much what this place was. It was massive. You walk in and it's like walking into a 3-tiered mall. So there was a cafe there and a smoothie bar. There was a spa. There was a place to get your hair done. There was there's a pool outside with both lap lanes, open swim area, hot tub, and water slides for the kids. They had the second floor where all the machines were. It was probably the most like technologically advanced gym section I've ever seen. They had a section where you do video workouts. You hook up your heart rate monitor. Heart rate is up on the board with everybody else you're working out, so they see like how hard you're working. The gym itself was impressive as hell, and it was a great location to have it. And if you get a chance to do this, they have another one coming up in June, I believe. I think it's like June 24th. $10 for a 2-hour workout and a sweet T-shirt and a bunch of other little swag you can get. It's a great time. So I'd encourage people to stop. And they're doing like obstacle tours and things like that all throughout the year. So if you check their site out, they've got a pretty busy year ahead of them.
Cool. Very, very cool. What else we got going on?
I wonder if they've ever considered going over to Shale Hill.
Spartan?
Yeah.
I think from memory, and I don't want to put words in Rob or Jill's mouths in case I'm wrong, but I believe they have caps on how many people they can have on the venue at once from the town.
That actually makes a whole lot of sense. So 150 people might be rough, but
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know what the number is. I mean, a workout tour, I can't imagine they would have a problem with that. But well, people will drive to Killington, but Benson's too far.
Yeah, just thinking out loud, so may not have been appropriate for this conversation, but sorry.
So what else we going on? I know you've seen the guys over at the Tough Mudder gym, but they're not open yet.
Yeah. So actually, after the Spartan workout, we were heading home, and I saw on Instagram the Tough Mudder boot camp guys were setting up a table at the Burlington Mall. So we stopped in to see them, and they're doing some like pop-up locations. So they're bringing a table and some iPads to kind of show off the gym setup and membership opportunities. So they were at Athleta, which I think is like a Gap-owned women's fitness apparel. Starbucks the last couple of days. They're going to be at another location they're going to announce tomorrow. So they're doing what they call founder sign-up. So they have special deals for people that sign up before the gym opens. And we talked about it on the last one. The best deal you can find, $200 gets you 20 free drop-in classes, not free, but 20 drop-in classes and a Tough Mudder event registration.
You cannot beat that with a stick.
You can. It's a great deal. And they are looking to break ground early in April. So I talked to the owner who was there. His name's Henry. So early in April, they're going to break ground, and they're looking, probably 5 or 6 weeks for construction and opening. So maybe call it middle of May, towards the end of May, open, and we'll have more on when it does open, and maybe get you a tour and some pictures and everything. So
very cool.
It's nice to see everything in full effect here.
So when we were talking about Runzilla, it reminded me that we've had a few new races coming onto the race local calendar for this year. Samurai Sprint is back. But also I spoke to a race director who is up in Maine. I know we have a bunch of Spartans in the Maine area who drive a hell of a long way to come down here for racing. So we have a race local event called the Dynamic Dirt Challenge. Now, I had not run into these guys before, but they've been around a long time. They've been doing this thing since 2012. They have a family-friendly course, but they also do a short family fest course afterwards that you can run with any age kid. That looks like a blast. It's a bit of a hike for me to get out there from Central Mass, but I know we got a lot of people in northern New Hampshire and over towards that Maine area that can get out there, so I encourage you to go check them out. I
looked it up, and I think for me, from Nashua, I think it's only 2 hours.
Okay. Yeah, it was pushing like 3 hours for me, which is a bit far to go with a kid for a race. But they're, again, we're trying to look for races all over New England, and Maine was one of those areas where there is a bunch of stuff going on, but it tends to be very localized. So it's neat to see these guys have been around so long. Encourage everyone who is able to go check them out. We have a discount code, and I'm looking for someone who can review as well. We have a free entry if someone can give us a decent review. So I'll put that out there to the right people. But other than that, I mean, my calendar's focused on Ragnar and Wassenpom Pounder now. I don't know what else I have coming up. I might do a Bone Frog or a Savage Race along the way.
Yeah, I've got City Field. Well, actually, there's a few things. So we got obviously Fit coming at the beginning of April. I've got City Field, I think April 21st, and then Jersey Ultra, April 28th, and then May is Ragnar month. So counting down. I feel like we're just sitting here twiddling our thumbs until Ragnar starts because that's like the unofficial start of the season, I think, for most people.
Speaking of Ragnar, I actually spoke to Ragnar HQ this last week about the Ragnar Trail that they're doing up in Vermont. The first year they've moved out of Massachusetts for trail. And they were saying that they're actually, I figured moving further away from Boston, they would be, down on the team numbers or whatever it might be. And they said, nope, they're doing great. And they actually have opened up more team number. They allow certain numbers of teams in at certain points coming up to the race because they obviously don't want to over-commit what they can do at the venue. And they've just opened up 100 more teams. So if people out there are still looking to get in, they have the availability and they're looking like they'll be rocking and rolling. Whole new venue.
Wow.
I think they're, and it's not like they're not already super popular, but I feel like they're primed to get a whole new audience of people because the Ragnar runners from like 3 years ago were a very tight-knit, like niche group that weren't outside of Ragnar. Like people that ran Ragnar ran it and they would travel and whatnot. And now I feel like people that are in obstacle course racing, as we get to this point of like saturation where there is, there's new races to try here and there, but I think we've spent the last 2 or 3 years doing all the races, hashtag all the races. So people are starting to see, other events like Ragnar and, I'm doing a regular ultra, not an obstacle course race, just a running ultra this year. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
Sucker.
Yeah. And then, I feel like I'm hoping people have seen the team's pictures and stuff from the events, and they've seen like we've had 4, 5, 6, 8 different groups at some of these Ragnar events, and I think
last year we had 11 teams?
Yeah,
no,
something
like that.
And I think it's it's to the point now where if there is a conflict, like Ragnar is it's the weekend before North American champs and before the Spartan Super, and I feel like Ragnar and the North American champs are probably going to heavily take most of the NES attendance away from Spartan Super. And I just feel like, once people have done something a couple times, it opens their minds to go and try something new.
Well, and let's face it, I mean, Josh, you're the one who's done a Spartan the most recently. What draw did they have that's new?
Paul, hold on.
Right.
Paul, stop for a second and start over. You've been cutting in and out a lot during the program, but I think that one was way worse.
Okay. Well, my question was, Josh, if you've got 2 big races overlapping a super, what has Spartan got to offer in 2018 to convince you to not do NorAm Champs or Ragnar Trail?
Well, I mean,
unless you're running age group and that's your thing.
Right, and I'm trying to think of the positive. You get North American Championships and Spartan Super. So to me, if I'm competing in Spartan races, I think at that point, this is a perfect weekend for me to go land spot because it's probably going to be, the North American Championship. So, as far as what it's going to do, there's plenty of other options to get supers in. I mean, it's pretty telling that Spartan even knows this is obviously going to be an attendance issue because they're only doing one day. They're not doing back-to-back days this year. So they know. And the races up here, I think, are also a little bit kind of, we don't even know where the super is going to be yet. So they're not floundering. That's a bad word, but they're just having a hard time maybe resettling into the area. They've changed times during the year when they run them now. So, but they'll find their way. We
have a very mature and smart OCR market up here. And I think if you have the opportunity to do once a year Keystone events or another super, and that's going to be Spartan's biggest challenge. For as long as they focus on this consistency over innovation, that'll be a big challenge. Mm-hmm. And on that Spartan bashing note, should we call it? Since the signal's pretty bad and...
I don't think that was bashing. I think that was plenty of good constructive criticism.
I think so too, but constructive criticism is not normally what they enjoy.
Depends on who you're talking about.
Yes, It does. So that's I think that's all I got for tonight, though. It's time for me to fly off to California next week, and April's a horror show for travel. So,
Sandy,
and I'm going on a cruise.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to be doing some solo riding here for the next few weeks.
So keep an eye on social media. Josh's been doing some cool video stuff when he's out and about. So keep that coming. And as usual, if you got any questions for us, reach out. We love hearing from you guys. That's how we know you're still out there.
Below. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Take care.
Bye.
As always, guys, thanks so much for checking out the show. We'd love to hear what you think, so give us some feedback. Submit a question, share a story from one of your recent races or events. I think the show gets better and better with your participation, and it's not just Paul, Sandy, and myself talking. So to reach out, ask questions, suggest a topic, whatever it may be, follow along on Facebook. We've got a dedicated Any Spartans show page, or you can join the community at Any Spartans on Facebook as well. Twitter's your thing. Shoot us a tweet at Any Spartans. And if you want to find our full library of episodes, I'd recommend either iTunes or Stitcher. So again, for Paul, Sandy, myself, thanks so much for listening, and until next time.